ladies. Thank you so much for understanding with life and how things get. So just a little tiny thing about what happened. So I've had this happen a couple of times, and I didn't know really what was happening. And so at my friend's house on Friday, I got to where I felt lightheaded. We had already worked out. My daughter had dropped off my grandkids. They were playing with my friend's kids, although mine are little, hers a little bigger. And I felt lightheaded, and what happens is my heart rate jumps. And like it just like lasted for like an hour of just feeling off. And then everything calmed back down, and then Saturday was kind of off and on to the point where my blood pressure got really high for me, and I just told my husband, take me to the ER, and I didn't know at the time, but my blood pressure whenever I was admitted was like 2 something over 100 and something, which is not my blood pressure. And then I just couldn't get my heart rate to come down out of nowhere. However, we do not have insurance, so I'm doing some research, and we've got some local places I can go. And then, but it probably is most likely connected to perimenopause and menopause and my research. You're not here for that, but I just would update you on how crazy my life has been, and I do appreciate y'all understanding and giving me grace on when my life is busy, and then sometimes when something's out of my control like that. And the doctor did a complete screening on me. So I sat and I've gone through all of my blood work and looked at my numbers. He actually, I think, really thought I was on drugs because I have high energy, and even though I wasn't feeling well, I still was energetic. My husband kept trying to tell him that this is normal for me, and all my chalk screenings came back negative. There were no drugs in my system, but I think he also thought that maybe because I work out, I think he thought that maybe I was taking too much of like pre-workout, but I don't even take a pre-workout. So, but all my numbers look great, so I'm very thankful for that. Okay, but we're here for our recipes for Friday. So last week was kind of an insane week. I was super crazy busy, and I came up with 2 recipes, and I do love these recipes, and I haven't made them in a while. My first one that we're going to do is super easy pesto ranch chicken. I'm not a pesto fan. The only reason this recipe came about is back whenever we really couldn't go shopping and I was doing like pickups and stuff or deliveries, someone substituted pesto or pesto for my marinara. I'd ordered marinara and I got pesto. And just in case, hey Lori, and just in case you don't know this, marinara and pesto are not equal. And I didn't know what to do with it because again, I'm not a huge pesto fan. Maybe I am now. I haven't had it like just pesto for years. But anyway, so I did, I guess the very white thing to do is add ranch and cream cheese, and it turned out delicious. So what I'm going to do, and this is my preference, again, I'm kind of weird with dairy, cooking long periods, and the like the kind of separation that can happen. So again, number 1 rule, always pre-label. Always pre-label. Do not trust yourself, because when it goes in the freezer and then it comes out of the freezer, it doesn't always look the same. I mean, you might be able to tell with the pesto, but just label. Just trust me on this. So I put on here basil pesto chicken, 824, add 4 ounces of cream cheese. I will add the cream cheese the last hour or 2 of the cooking. And it is really good recipe. It's great, especially if you have kids, because kids kind of like this stuff. When I make this, there's no leftovers. It is a family favorite. I have served this over a variety of things. I've served it on top of my mashed veggies, which is typically a few of the small round potatoes that I do not peel, because then it's evidence that there's actually potatoes in there, a bag of frozen cauliflower, and yellow squash. And make sure if you do the yellow squash, because I think the yellow squash is kind of watery, make sure you mash that liquid out, because otherwise you're going to have soupy potatoes, and that's not what we're going for. And then I'll add salt and pepper, and a little reduced fat cream cheese. And depending on what it's going to go with, I might add more things like butter and stuff. But typically, the reduced fat cream cheese is excellent with it. It was my original kind of how I was going with it, so I could do like a low fat mashed potato, but still stay friendly with the carbs, and it worked out great. You can do spaghetti squash. You can do any of the noodles that you can find. Dream fills are getting harder to find, and what I was doing is I would go online, find a place to order them, and I would order a case every week or 2 or 3 weeks, which I've only ordered it 3 times, so it's not that I did it that often. But I've got lasagna, rotini, elbow, maybe one more kind in the pantry, and I would just order a case and then put them in containers in my pantry. So if you can't find dream fills, hopefully you can find another alternative. Luckily I was able to get some before they got harder to find, but that was my tip is sometimes Walmart, my local Walmart wouldn't have them, but Walmart.com would have them, and so I'd place like a $50 order and I didn't have to pay for shipping. So you serve the basil pesto chicken however you want. You could probably even make it into a soup if you wanted, which brings me to hamburger soup. I guess it's just expensive everywhere, and we're just not having great meat sales while I'm doing this, which is so frustrating. I just got my Berkshire's ad today, and we've got pork chops again, and sirloin steak, and it's $3.99 a pound instead of $2.99 it was. So I'm going to see what my Super One has. So I may be stuck with those. So this last week I did, I would, if you like the pasta, Lori, what I would do is I would buy a box like every time I would go to the store, just because we like it, and we probably eat it maybe once a week, at least every 2 weeks. And I keep mine in plastic containers because I did not know what it was like a year ago. I had a pantry moth infestation. I had no idea what was happening. It was brand new for me. So now pretty much everything is in plastic containers, so I don't have to throw away my food. Okay, so hamburger meat was on sale last week, and I know that this whole series is easy dump and go, freezer to crock pot recipes. Just dump your ingredients in your bag, dump your ingredients into your crock pot, and you're done. If I can't find cheap meat, then I've got to do the next affordable thing, which is often a ground meat. Very smart. Great idea. So it's hamburger meat, and I hate that I'm using the hamburger meat, but it's just what was on sale. Again, if you choose, you can, put everything in the bag and just cook it in the crock pot. I'm not willing to risk my dinner for not liking the hamburger. I've heard like it kind of just gets gray, mushy, and that's really not what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook up the hamburger meat. I'm probably going to go ahead and cook up some mushrooms into the hamburger meat, and then hopefully I can find it. I think I still have some if I can't find them. For my onions and celery in the recipe, I'm going to use seasoning blend. I'm probably going to use a half a bag per bag. So I'll need 2 bags of the seasoning blend. Now, you can add as much as you want, and I gave you 2 options. I gave you, and you don't need to use my recipes. Use whatever recipes that sound good to you. If you've got a favorite hamburger soup recipe, share it. I would love to try one. We don't have a lot of cold days here in Texas, but I do love crockpot soup days. And I went with the one that is not an E because I'm probably going to make a batch of almond flour cornbread. I don't know why. I love cornbread in soup. I love cornbread in chili. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I love it. So this way I can have my cornbread, my almond flour cornbread with my vegetable hamburger soup. This makes a lot. This like fills up my crock pot. So I'm trying to get my thoughts together. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-cook my hamburger with probably the mushrooms in it. And I'm not putting everything in the bag, so I've got some things listed on my bag, but I'm going to go ahead and dump in the bag of cauliflower. The cauliflower, you have a couple of options. Let it cook, take out the big chunks, cut it up, leave it in there, or take out the cauliflower, blend it up, and pour it back in there. If you have picky people who say they don't like cauliflower, and if they see it, they won't eat it. Or leave out the cauliflower. Obviously, nothing is set in stone. Make this however you want. I'm going to add the seasonings. I'm gonna add all of that, and then I may leave the carrots out completely. I called for like 4 carrots or something. I'm not big on carrots that have been like left out or frozen. I've seen people take recipes and throw in baby carrots, and then the texture from the frozen to the crock pot is not a thing for me. So I don't know if I want to use canned carrots. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the carrots yet. Right now, no carrots. It's up in the air on what I will do. My husband does not like green peas. I love green peas. So in each recipe, I think I do like 1 cup. He can handle a cup of green peas in a whole thing of soup. So I'm going to add the cauliflower. I'm going to add 1 can of tomatoes, but not the big crushed tomato can. So what I will do, this is my tip, do it however you want. But I'm going to go ahead and pre-buy anything that's going to go in this, label it in my pantry for the hamburger soup. So that way I will have already spent the money, and then when it comes time, I'm letting y'all know this is sometimes saves my budget. If I can buy the meat that's on sale, get the canned vegetables when they're a good price, and go ahead and have everything in my house, then whenever it comes time to make these things, it's just so much more budget friendly. And then I'm going to add the beef broth. I'm not going to put in here. And the main reason I'm not doing that, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, sometimes when you put these baggies in the freezer, they get little tears in them. And so then when I thaw them, the liquid leaks out. So I always thaw in a little plastic tote. I pulled a recipe out today, and I've got 2 more in a tote. I typically have the Crockpot here was over there. Today we're having the pepper steak. And my house smells really, really good. So tonight we're going to have the pepper steak that I made on here. And again, I like shortcuts. So in the pepper steak, I use the pepper and the onion medley. I did not cut up a single vegetable. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. All right. And then, so I add the beef broth to the recipe. That is mainly because I do not, also besides it taking up less space in the freezer, I don't like that big giant mess that's going to happen when it leaks all over the fridge. And I have added canned green beans. I typically will just use the cheap regular green beans and cut them up to bite-sized pieces. Depending on the size of people that you're feeding, I do not want to put my spoon in my soup and come up with a big giant green bean. That's just not what I want. So I kind of cook towards my likes and just hope, and then everybody else as well. I don't want them eating this. Anyway, I truly don't care if I cut up green beans or not, but that's what I will do. So you add to your bags whatever you want to add. I have some of these recipes that I have made that I'm able to easily fold in half, and they're in the freezer, not this thin obviously. And then I've got some that have a bit more today with the pepper steak. The only thing I had to add was a cup of broth, but it was a very full bag. So the less you put in, the more you can put in your freezer, and less space it takes up. So you add whatever you want. You can fill your bags completely up, so there's a whole lot less of a headache on cooking day. You literally just dump your whole bag in and walk away. I think that adding the cream cheese to the freezer bag for the pesto ranch chicken is fine. I really think it would turn out okay because you're going to shred it. Again, I just don't want to risk not liking dinner because I went ahead and froze the cream cheese. But if you want to, my friend still freezes her cream cheese. But anyway, that's it. I hope that you're having a great week. I am having a great day today. I have felt the best since Friday. I'm feeling a whole lot more back to normal. And again, thank you all so much for understanding and letting me get here when I felt better. And the sweet and sour chicken was really good, and so then I'm going to get that up, and we'll do that one next week, and that's truly another just dump everything in your bag. But thanks for watching. If you have ideas, if you have a favorite hamburger soup recipe, I would love for you to share. I will see you again on Friday. Bye.